my dear students. I hope you all are fine at home. Today we will start the next chapter of history, that is Rise of New Kingdoms. Before starting the chapter, firstly understand that why we are studying this chapter. So, we are studying this chapter just because to understand the emergence of new dynasties in both the parts of India, in North India and South India, and how administration was carried out in these kingdoms, and warfare for wealth, Tripati struggle, and the invasion of Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori. So these all things we will study under medieval period. Students, as I already told you in the previous chapter, that the medieval period lies between 8th and 18th century, and again it is divided into two parts, that is early medieval period or later medieval period. The early medieval period lies between 8th to 12th century, and the later medieval period lies between 12th to 18th century. Students, understand a little more about the medieval period, and here I'm talking about the pre-medieval period. If When we talk about pre-medieval period in North India, there was a rule of King Harsha, and King Harsha was overthrown by the Rajputs. And if we talk about South India, there was a rule of Chalukyas, and again they were overthrown by the Rashtrakutas, and these Rashtrakutas were also Rajputs. And now we will talk about Pallavs. The Pallavs' rule was overthrown by the imperial Cholas. We will discuss the Rajput period in detail. So as I already told you that the medieval period is in two parts. So the Rajput period begins from the early medieval period. From the death of Harsha to the 12th century, the destiny of India was mostly in the hands of various Rajput dynasties. Students, there are many different theories and claims of different historians regarding the origin of Rajputs. So some of them say that the Rajputs are the descendants of Lord Rama, means they are from the Sun family and they are called Suryavanshi, and others are having the view that they belong to they are the descendants of Lord Krishna, means they are from Chandravansh, and they are called Chandravanshis. Apart from these two vanshis, there are many other Rajputs who believe that they are from the Agnikul, means they believe that their origin is from the sacred fire. And so there are various clans of Rajput, like the Pratiharas, Chauhanas, those are called Chamnas also, and the Solanki and Pawars. As we already discussed that there are various Rajput clans, so here we will discuss some important Rajput clans. Students, these clans are given in detail in your book, but I have written over here just to make you understand so that you can understand it easily. So the first important clan was Tomars. Tomars, it is believed that this dynasty come up after the Pandavas ceased to rule. The Tomars are said to be the descendants of the Pandavas, and the dynasty began with the great grandson of the Pandava prince Arjun. And it lasted till the last Tomar king ruled, and the last Tomar king was Maharaja Anangpal Tomar III. And the Tomars were believe that they are the founder of the Delhi, and after that they make Delhi their capital, and their empire was end up by the Chauhans, means they are overthrown by the Chauhan dynasty. And the next were Chauhans, which are also called Chahmans. And Chauhans ruled around the area of Delhi and Ajmer, and their important king was Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan is one of the remembered Hindu king of Ajmer. He was an ambitious ruler but had a rivalry with the Chalukya of Gujarat. And Prithviraj Chauhan had a war with Muhammad Ghori, and there were two battles between them. In one battle, that is the Battle of Tarayan, he defeated Muhammad Ghori, and then again Muhammad Ghori come with full preparation, and he defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. And we have other sources which can also tells us about Prithviraj Chauhan, and that was a poem that was epic of Chand Bardai. He was a court poet of Prithviraj Chauhan, and he wrote a book on Prithviraj Chauhan. Its name was Prithviraj Raso. The next powerful dynasty was Solankis. Solankis were basically from Gujarat, and their important ruler was Siddharaja. It is believed that Solankis were great patrons of art and architectures, and they have built many monuments, many buildings, and one of them was Dilwara Temple at Mount Abu, and the another one is Sun Temple at Gujarat. Next powerful dynasty was Parihars, and they were also known as Gurjaras. They ruled over northern and western India from 8th to 11th century AD, and Nagabhatta was the founder of the Parihar dynasty, and their capital was Kannauj. Mihir Bhoj was one of the most powerful king of Parihara dynasty, and during this period their empire, means the Parihar empire, was extended from Kashmir to Narmada and from Kathiawar to Bihar. And Raja Bhoj, who was one of the important king of Parihar dynasty, Raja Bhoj first time issued the silver coins with the Vishnu image on it, and again he was succeeded by his son Mahendrapal. And the last ruler of Gurjara Parihar dynasty was Rajyapal. And the Prahara power began to decline after Muhammad of Ghazni attacked the kingdom in 1018 AD. And after the decline of Parihara, their feudatories here means the rulers who were under the Parihara kingdom, like Palas, Tomars, Chandela, and Parmars, become independent ruler. Now take a look over the Pala dynasty. Pala dynasty was founded by the Gopala, and the important thing about Gopala king was that he has not taken the throne from his ancestors, but he was elected by the other people of his court. And Gopala was succeeded by his son Dharampala, and Dharampal brought Kannauj, Bengal, and Bihar under his control and became the master of northern India after defeating the Pariharas. Dharampal was a follower of Buddhism, and he founded the Vikramshila University of Bihar. Moreover, he also revived the Nalanda University, and he was succeeded by his son Devpala. We will talk about the Deccan region. The Deccan region was found between the rivers of Krishna and Narmada. And now we will talk about the different dynasties who ruled over the Deccan region. The first one is Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakutas were the powerful dynasties, and they ruled from 8th century to 10th century. And this dynasty was founded by Dantidurg. He was also a very brave, great warrior, and they ruled for 200 years in the Deccan region, and their capital was Manaikhet. It is said that these Rashtrakutas were belonged to Laturu in Maharashtra. Laturu was a place in Maharashtra. I would like to tell you the name of some famous rulers of Rashtrakuta dynasty, and the one who founded the dynasty was Dantidurg. After that, he was succeeded by his son Krishna I and Govinda II, and one of the most powerful king of Rashtrakuta dynasty was Amoghavarsha, and after that there was Krishna III. Students, one interesting thing I would like to tell you about the Rashtrakutas, that as we all know that Rashtrakutas overthrown the Chalukya dynasty, and the Chalukyans were the Kshatriya. Kshatriya means the warriors. And when they overthrown the Chalukya dynasty, they performed a ritual which is called Hiranyagarbha, means the golden worm. इसमें क्या होता है कि जो राष्ट्रकूटा थे, जैसे मैंने बताया कि दे वर नॉट क्षत्रिय, सो दे थॉट दैट the people will not accept them as king because they were not kshatriyas. So for this they performed this ritual, Hiranyagarbha ritual, विद द हेल्प ऑफ ब्राह्मण्स की हेल्प से उन्होंने ये रिचुअल परफॉर्म किया. तो ये रिचुअल मेनली होता है फॉर दोज पीपल हु वर नॉन क्षत्रियास. सो बाय डूइंग दिस दे बिकम अ क्षत्रिय. एंड apart from this, they were also considered as the great pattern of art and architecture. They have constructed many temples, many buildings, and the Ellora caves are one of them. And there was one, that rock cut caves at Elephant near. Now we will talk about the most important topic, that is tripartite struggle. The struggle was between the three important dynasties. These were the Pariharas of central India, the Palas of Bengal, and the Rashtrakutas of Deccan. All these three dynasties wanted to establish their supremacy or their control over Kannauj. Why they wanted to control the Kannauj? Because the Kannauj was very rich in wealth and resources. And this struggle continued for almost 200 years. And the result of this struggle or their war was that all these three dynasties become weakened day by day. And because of their decline, the Turkish were unable to overthrow them. So after this struggle, there was a Turkish rule which established in India.